I did an initial video probably about 10 days to 2 weeks ago now with my thoughts on the George Groves versus Carl Froch fight. I think now we're getting closer to the big day this Saturday. I wanted to do a final video just with a few more thoughts and also a prediction. In the initial video I predicted that Carl Froch would win on points. There's a few points to make along the way, but long and the short of it is I still think that is the most likely option here. Carl Froch win on points. I think the press conference today certainly revealed a few tactics, supposed tactics that George Groves are going to employ, and I do think that if there's truth to be told there is a possible chance of a slightly altered result. So I'll talk through that briefly. Basically, as I mentioned in this fight, my initial thoughts is the way this is going to go is similar to the Groves-De Gale fight. I think that Groves will try and fight a very tactical game of chess type fight on the back foot, trying to counter punch, trying to hit and not be hit, and try and sort of win the fight on his back foot. And I predicted that would lead to a frustrating fight that would go the distance, but Froch would ultimately win because, unlike De Gale, he'd bring too much pressure and too much forward momentum, and that would mean that he would take the fight. And that's my initial thoughts. Now, today in the press conference, George Groves made it very clear he intends to have a real fight with Carl Froch. He made the point that he doesn't buy into how big Froch's power is, how many of Froch's fights go 12 round. And Groves also backs his chin. Now, Groves clearly has punching power. I guess that's something we don't have to dispute. He's clearly a big puncher. So if we understand that Groves is a massive puncher, and if we believe what he's saying, that he has a great chin, and that Froch isn't a knockout puncher, then this tactic does make sense. Now, because of that, I think it is slightly possible that Groves will actually bring the fight to Carl Froch. Promoter Eddie Hearn certainly thinks so. He said in an interview with IFL TV, imagine if he did fight on the back foot and lost the fight. He'd be thinking, what if for the rest of his career? So I think it's very likely that my initial thoughts about this being a tactical game of chess type fight fought on the back foot are wrong, and we are actually going to see a bit more of a scrap, which will certainly keep the public entertained. Now, at the end of the day, we're not going to know till the bell sounds, but either way, I still have Carl Froch winning this fight. I look at George Groves. What does George Groves have over Carl Froch? I think George Groves is possibly a more technically gifted fighter. I think his fighting style is more technical. I think his jab's probably better, I'd say, than Froch's. Is the way he moves around the ring is probably more sophisticated. I think he's more of a technically sophisticated fighter. His hand speed, his foot speed, his footwork, his body movement. I think he's probably a bigger puncher than Carl. What Carl has over him is experience, and I guess really experience and chin. I mean, Carl Froch is he has got a great chin. He's never been stopped. He's been down, I think, against Jermaine Taylor, but that was a bit of a flash knockdown. He's taken the big shots from the likes of Mikhail Kessler, etc. I mean, Carl Froch has got a great chin. He's got a better chin than George Groves. George Groves, I know he's never been stopped, but he's been put down. Obviously, Froch put him down in sparring, which we know about. Kenny Anderson put him down in their fight. Froch has got a better chin, he's got more experience, and I think his come-forward style has the potential to be more judge-friendly if it goes rounds, which I expect it to. So Froch has a few advantages, but I think Groves perhaps has the more telling advantages in terms of technical boxing ability, footwork, the way he controls the ring, etc. Now, I think if he comes and has a toe-to-toe war with Froch, that is playing right into Froch's hands. The way to beat Froch, in my opinion, is to outbox him, not to stand and get into a barroom brawl with him, because the way he fights, constant pressure, constant flurries of punches, taking shots, having a great chin, it's all going to play into Froch's hands if they stand in the middle of the ring and if they trade. Yes, George Groves could knock him out. George Groves is a big puncher and any man can be knocked out. That is a live possibility, but I believe a remote possibility, because I believe Froch's chin is just too solid. I think the way that George Groves possibly wins this fight is if he fights a come forward boxing style without engaging too much in an all out war. If he's going to do what he says he's going to do in the press conference, throw in big rights, I think that plays right into Froch's hands. I mean, I think the difficulty is George Groves is either going to come and have a war, or he's going to fight like he did against De Gale on the back foot. And I think both of those are going to allow Froch to win. I think Froch getting into a war is playing right into his hands. And if Groves did what he did against De Gale, Froch is going to be too aggressive and bring too much momentum, much more than De Gale did. And he's going to win rounds and take them off George Groves and force them away from George Groves. So the more I think about it, the more convinced I am that Froch is going to win. Like I say, Groves does have a lot of advantages, a lot of technical ability. He is a fighter with potential, but I look at some of his fights, and I look at his fight against Kenny Anderson, and there was a few others. I forget the guy's name. It might have been a Mexican chap after Paul Smith, but it was a guy who'd lost his last two, and he got in a bit of trouble at times during that fight. He got cut open and stuff. The more I look into it, the more I think that Froch is going to win. I think when it comes down to it, when the bell rings, the fact that there's been all this pre-fight hype, I think that will go out the window. And I just think that Carl Froch's experience is going to tell. And I think it's such a cliche, but styles make fights. And I think Froch's come forward aggressive style is going to negate some of George's superior technical abilities. That's my opinion anyway. I'm still going Froch on points. I think there is a chance that Froch could secure the stoppage. As I say, I don't see Froch as a devastating one punch knockout artist either, but there's certainly a chance he could, have George up against the ropes, landing constant barrages, and the ref's going to step in. But at this point, my confident prediction is we're looking at Froch win on points. I think it'll be a cagey fight at times, and I think that whilst it will probably cause quite a few questions, Froch will win convincingly. Please leave your thoughts and predictions below. I'd be interested to hear them. I'm actually away for the weekend, but I'll be back on Monday, so I'll do a video afterwards, doing a bit of post-fight analysis and reaction, concentrating on where the fighters go from here. Thanks for watching. Please check back.